Coming up, Trinity University has announced a new batch of construction plans, how students and staff were involved in the reimagination of one of Trinity's most iconic buildings.
And election season on Trinity campus has come to an end. Stick around to find out which of your classmates will be in charge of student government next year.
Right now on Newswave.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Newswave. Today is Friday, April 11th. I'm Angelina D'Elia.
And I'm Luke McCauley.
Coates Library is set to undergo renovations to update its infrastructure, expand student spaces, and implement new technology. In collaboration with students and faculty, the project aims to create a modern, multifunctional space while maintaining the mid-century design. The project's plans include a bridge connecting the new Welcome Center, Halsell, and Chapman buildings to the library, as well as a new cafe and student success center. According to Benjamin Harris, the dean of the library, renovation plans began last summer. Harris emphasized how it is, quote, really important that students know what's going on and give feedback, end quote. Workshops at the early design stages of the project allowed students to provide feedback, with former professor Catherine O'Rourke's architecture class being a major contributor. One student who took that class, senior art and Spanish major Sebastian Najera, said that the class's proposal aimed at, quote, maintaining the current feeling the library has. The third floor renovations are projected to cause minimal disturbances and will be completed by 2026.
Up now, we got an inside look at how well Trinity University accommodates vegetarians through its dining plans. Newswave reporter Samantha Plummer spoke with vegetarian students about their on-campus dining options.
Complaining about the food at Trinity is arguably one of students' favorite pastimes.
Trinity isn't exactly known for its stellar dining, and that's if you have all the options available to you.
For our students with dietary or health restrictions, finding foods they can eat, let alone enjoy, is a struggle. But the lack of options doesn't just mean your mac and cheese is too watery. It also means that we're not very sustainable.
The typical meat-heavy American diet guzzles carbon dioxide down like there's no tomorrow. And you don't need to be pre-med to know that it's not healthy either. To be part of a more sustainable future, we're all going to need to be consuming significantly less meat. But how accessible is a plant-based diet at Trinity?
In this video, we'll be diving into the benefits of plant-based diets while exploring the options Trinity students have as well. Let's get started. About a third of all greenhouse gas emissions is due to food. According to the UN, 14.5% of total emissions is due to meat and dairy production. However, this number could actually be much higher.
The global rising demand for cheap meat means that the meat industry is not placing sustainability as its top priority. Meat is a huge driver in biodiversity loss and deforestation, and we all know that less trees means that less CO2 is being absorbed from the atmosphere. So factory farms aren't just inhumane, they're a huge factor in pollution. Methane from cow burps is in the air, and runoff pesticides and manure contaminate the water.
As the GDP of developing countries increases, global demand for meat is only going to rise overall. However, Americans remain one of the highest consumers of meat. For example, the average American consumes 82 pounds of beef per year, compared to the global mean of 19.8.
We've learned that eating meat is healthy in moderation, but we're nowhere near moderate levels now. So, how realistic is it to be plant-based while living on campus? To find out, we interviewed some Trinity vegetarians.
I feel like it's honestly such a financial commitment that I wasn't really prepared for to be vegetarian on campus. Because of the lack of options, I end up having to pay for my meal plan and trying to cook my own food with this semi-dorm kitchen situation.
The problem here is that, again, there's just not as much variety. I've only got options between 3 different things, and the one thing that they cycle through, which is the cooked vegetables, those are always not the most pleasant because, again, they only season them with oil and black pepper.
My experience being a vegetarian on Trinity's campus has been pretty fine, I would say, because there are vegetarian options available like pretty much everywhere you go. So it's never like you're going to starve to death or go hungry or anything, but it's not the best. There's not world-class meals or anything.
A big thank you to some of our on-campus vegetarians for speaking with us. We really appreciate your insight.
While all of our interviewees have diverse perspectives of being meat-free at Trinity, it's clear that none of their experiences are overwhelmingly positive.
We'd also like to offer our own perspectives. As a recent convert to vegetarianism, I can confidently say that eating meat-free here compared to not is much more difficult. I have a few options at Coates on rotation, and the food at Maybe that I can actually eat is often not nutritious, filling, or healthy.
I'm not vegetarian, but due to cultural reasons, I don't eat pork or beef. So I don't have the same level of restriction, it still can be difficult to get a variety of food.
While eating a burger every once in a while isn't a bad thing, it's clear that we all need to do our part in reducing meat consumption to help mitigate the dangers of climate change. As global warming effects become more prominent every day, we all need to take a step in creating a smaller impact on our damaged Earth.
Trinity Dining claims that the next semester will bring new and improved changes, including for those with dietary restrictions. Starting in fall 2025, all stations in Maybe will be open on the weekends, more restaurants and Coates will be open at night, and a campus dietitian will be available to all students. However, all of the updated meal plan options include less bonus bucks than before, which may make it harder for students who rely on Coates more than Maybe. Only time will tell if these new changes will help pave the way for a more sustainable future here at Trinity.
Last week, Trinity Student Government Association, or SGA, announced the results of the 2025 elections for president, vice president, and class senators. Rising senior Omar Rattrut will be the president of SGA for the 2025-2026 school year, while rising junior Malvin Stovall will serve as SGA's vice president. Both Rattrut and Stovall have prior experience in SGA during their time at Trinity. Rattrut has served as a senator for the class of 2026 and is currently the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Chair for SGA. Stovall has been an SGA senator the last 2 years, working on both the Finance Committee and as part of the Constitutional Review Committee. Rattrut has stated that a priority of his will be to increase transparency between the student body and the Board of Trustees. Rattrut has said, quote, "With the consistent increases in tuition and changes to our meal plan, I think it is important that students are aware of the logistics behind such decisions. As president, I will be the voice for our community in answering the concerns we may have surrounding such issues." End quote. Class senators were also elected as Justin Wartell, Sabrina Sinquid, and Alexander Brown have been elected to fill 3 of the 5 senators' seats for the class of 2026. The remaining 2 positions will be up for general election at a later date. Newswave would like to congratulate the students in SGA for the 2025-2026 school year.
Still coming up, Newswave reporters spoke with the manager of an ice cream and gelato shop that recently opened in Castle Hills.
And we've got more headlines from around San Antonio and across the state of Texas.
Stick around, we'll be right back after this short message.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate, and it's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Welcome back to Newswave. On March 29th, the Texas Democratic Party Governing Board voted Kendall Scudder as the new state party chair, succeeding Gilberto Hinojosa, who resigned following the election. This change comes after a poor performance and electoral defeats for the Texas Democratic Party in 2024. According to the Texas Tribune, Scudder emphasized the need to rebuild the party's connection with grassroots supporters, stating, quote, "The reality is simply that Democrats on the ground don't have a lot of confidence in party leadership anymore." Scudder plans to pay attention to rural areas with a strong emphasis on Spanish language outreach. Scudder is serving as the incumbent through 2026, when a larger body of delegates will select the next full-term chair at the party convention in Corpus Christi. Scudder's election marks a pivotal moment for Texas Democrats as they seek to regain footing and address the challenges that led to previous electoral defeats.
Earlier this spring, San Antonio welcomed Moolala, its newest ice cream shop, to Castle Hills. Last week, Newswave reporter Kate Klein had the privilege of speaking with the store's owner about its history and plans for the future. Take a look.
Hey everyone, it's Kate here today with local finds at Moolala Ice Cream Shop. Moolala is owned and operated by Chef Hilda Villaseñor, who comes from a family of ice cream creators from Guadalajara, Mexico, where generations of her family have been developing unique recipes, and I could not be more excited to be here today with owner Hilda to ask some questions and see what's going on. Alrighty, Hilda, could you please share some more about your family's history with frozen treats and how these traditions influence the flavors and techniques used at Moolala?
Yes, thank you. Thanks for being here. Well, it's a lovely history. My grandfather started this business just for love. It was his main idea at the beginning because he wanted to create a business for the people in the little town, Tocumbo, Michoacán. It's a little town in Mexico. And what he wants is to create something for the people of his town. So he created this business in Mexico City. He was the first ice cream shop.
Oh my.
Yes, it was the first one, like around 1948. And since that time, all my family, all my friends, we are working in this business.
What would you say your future collaborations are with some businesses maybe in the area or just around the city?
Yes, for sure. We are planning to collaborate with some restaurants and maybe some bakeries and coffee shops.
Yeah.
For example, with restaurants, we are planning to have like special flavors for the restaurants. Maybe the chefs can ask me for a special flavor for the restaurant. Well, I used to do that in Guadalajara.
Nice.
With some restaurants. They ask me for special flavors like burnt tortilla, like dragon fruit with mezcal. I don't know, like crazy flavor, or not crazy flavors, like special flavors for them.
And then are there any particular ice cream flavors or gelato flavors you currently offer that you would say hold some sort of significance in your life or your family's?
Well, I believe that maybe tamarind.
Okay.
I love tamarind.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean nothing special for my family.
You just like the flavor.
I just love the flavor. Yes.
Yes.
It's very well for me.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then I know you do like coffee as well. So do you have any particular pairing recommendations for like maybe an espresso with a coffee or any specific pairings that people should try?
Yes. I believe that affogato,
Okay.
the people should try it because you will have the perfect gelato and the perfect coffee together.
Yes. And does the ice cream, like the gelato, melt kind of in the coffee? I've never had one before, so I don't know.
Well, the affogato is just a scoop of ice cream, and normally it's with the milk cream ice cream,
Okay.
and we add a espresso.
Okay, a shot of espresso.
Yeah, a shot of espresso, and it's amazing.
Okay.
And we already create a new beverage, and it's gelate,
Ooh.
and it's like a normal iced latte, but with gelato,
Oh, wow.
and it's fantastic.
Okay. Thank you so much. And you said you really like tamarind. Do you have any other favorite flavors before we finish up?
Yes, for sure, pistachio.
Oh, that's my favorite. Yeah.
Pistachio is amazing. I will recommend that pistachio. I think that pistachio is one of my favorites as well.
Me too. All right. Thank you so much, Hilda.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
The sun was out this past week in San Antonio, and we hope you got outside to enjoy some of the beautiful weather. To let you know whether the good weather is here to stay, Newswave's chief meteorologist Luke Morton has your weekly weather update.
Hello everyone. Let me be the first to welcome you to another weekend. I hope you all had a great week. This past week has been quite glorious and even a bit chilly, which is a very welcome sight from April. Unfortunately, the warmer weather is back and is here to stay for a little while, but at least we got a nice reprieve from it this past week. Looking forward to your weekend. It should be pretty nice. It will get quite warm in the afternoons with highs close to 90 degrees for both days. However, we do have some dry air in place which will cool us off nicely during the evenings with lows in the upper 50s. Skies should be mostly sunny on both days, so enjoy. Next week is a continuation of the weekend with highs in the upper 80s and lows in the mid-60s under partly to mostly sunny skies. For those who celebrate Easter, next weekend should be quite nice as well with highs moderating a bit. Look for highs in the low 80s and lows near 60. Perfect weather for the Easter Bunny. Anyways, that's going to be it for me today. Enjoy your weekend and your short week next week, and I will see you all soon.
Blake Brickman, David Maxwell, Mark Penley, and Ryan Vassar were awarded a combined $6.6 million after they sued Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, claiming he fired them in retaliation efforts after they reported him to the FBI for allegedly abusing his office. Despite denying allegations, the court found that Ken Paxton fired the 4 employees in retaliation for using his office to accept bribes from a political donor, Nate Paul, who hired a woman that Paxton was having an affair with. Regarding the ruling, Paxton has said it is, quote, ridiculous and not based on the facts or the law, end quote.
Over the weekend, more than 1,000 protests took place nationwide in response to the Trump administration's social policies, and Republican representatives have accused the Chinese Communist Party of infiltrating U.S. military bases through GNC nutrition stores. Stick around, we'll be right back in 30 seconds.
How far you go in life depends on your being tender with the young, compassionate with the aged, sympathetic with the striving, and tolerant of the weak and the strong. Because someday in life you will have been all of these. All of us want to do well, but if we do not do good too, then doing well will never be enough.
Across the nation, demonstrators rallied on Saturday, uniting under the banner Hands Off against the Trump administration. Over 1,300 rallies nationwide showcase widespread opposition to the administration's policies. In Washington, D.C., thousands gathered near the Washington Monument, advocating for reproductive rights, LGBTQ rights, Social Security, and veterans' benefits. Kelly Lard from Rockville, Maryland, stated, quote, "They're coming after education, coming after healthcare, coming after the arts, coming after the press." In Boston, protesters challenged federal research cuts and the arrest of a Tufts University student. Sylva, North Carolina, witnessed over 300 people protesting cuts to national parks, education, and veteran services. Portland, Oregon saw thousands rallying against what they termed an illegal billionaire power grab. Veterans Colin Boland and Sonia Lundy emphasized their continued commitment to protecting Americans, saying they are concerned about the future of Social Security and veteran benefits. Al and Bev Mermelstein, traveling from Charlottesville, Virginia, held signs decrying threats to the Constitution and rule of law. Many attendees expressed a sense of urgent duty, feeling compelled to act against perceived threats to human rights and democracy.
GNC is a nutrition store that has been operating on military bases for years under long-term concessions contracts. However, in 2018, a partially state-owned Chinese company called Harbin Pharmaceuticals purchased a 40% stake in GNC. During the COVID pandemic, GNC declared bankruptcy and was fully acquired by Harbin Pharmaceuticals. Given that Harbin is partially owned by China, some in Congress are concerned that the 85 GNC stores operating on U.S. military bases could be an opportunity for the Chinese Communist Party to gather intelligence and compromise the integrity of American national security. Quote, "This is actually a situation where the CCP is operating on our military bases," end quote, said Representative Pat Harrigan of North Carolina, who recently sponsored the Military Installation Retail Security Act, which would ban companies of Chinese, North Korean, Iranian, or Russian ownership from operating on military bases. According to Harrigan, the store could be used by the Chinese government to monitor deployment cycles based on changes in purchasing patterns. Additionally, the GNC locations could pose cyber risks because in-store Wi-Fi and mobile data tracking could reveal troop geolocations. So far, Harrigan's bill has been introduced to the House of Representatives and referred to the House Committee on Armed Services.
A recent turndown in the stock market has Americans close to retirement concerned about their savings. With threats of an upcoming recession making people feel uneasy, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent appeared on NBC's News Meet the Press and stressed the Trump administration is creating long-term prosperity in the market. He also reiterated that Americans should not worry about the market day-to-day, but instead should look at trends over a long period of time. Bessent said, quote, "People have a long-term view. The reason the stock market is considered a good investment is because it's a long-term investment. If you look day-to-day, week-to-week, it's very risky. Over the long term, it's a good investment," end quote. While Bessent in the Trump administration tried to promote optimism surrounding the stock market, Democrats in Congress took a decidedly different tone, with Senator Adam Schiff of California saying, quote, "He's wrecking our economy. I think people have seen their retirement savings on fire, and there he is out on the golf course. That may end up the most enduring image of Trump's presidency. That is the president out of the golf course while people's retirement is in flames," end quote. As changes in the stock market continue, Newswave will be sure to keep you updated.
When we come back, Newswave sports editor Caleb Reed has your weekly sports update, and how the leader of France's far-right movement has lost her ability to run for president and risks imprisonment. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short message.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars.
Really tall.
I'm a rocket structural engineer designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands?
Yes.
You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
Excuse me. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome back to sports. My name is Caleb Reed, and let's go ahead and get right into it. First off, jumping into Trinity sports first, and Trinity baseball, who took a 3-game series here at home against the Shriner Mountaineers. Bad weather forced a delay for game number 1 that necessitated a 9:15 start time on Friday night, and unfortunately, that late start ultimately cost the Tigers as they fell 4-6 with an 11-inning final score. Trinity then rebounded the following day, however, run-ruling Shriner in a game number 2 of the series that saw a 15-5 final with 10 runs scored in the bottom of the 5th. Trinity ultimately won the series with a close 5-4 win in game number 3, moving their overall record to 23-7 on the season, as well as 18-3 in conference. Meanwhile, Trinity softball is on a much-deserved break this weekend after 2 weeks on the road. Highlights from the Southwestern Series include record-tying as well as record-breaking performances. First off, Hannah Boudreau tied the single-game RBI record with 6 in Trinity's 9-4 win over the Pirates, while Ella Whitaker set a new record for most runs in a single game with 5. Trinity ultimately split the series with Southwestern, but dominated their next series against Shriner, only allowing 3 runs all weekend with 12-2, 10-1, and 7-0 victories. Next weekend will be softball's Senior Day series against Centenary, but for more on the team, Tiger TV's own Max Craig sat down with shortstop Angela Baltzel. Take a look.
All right, I'm here with Angela, one of the softball players. As you already know, I'm going to be asking you a few questions relating to your softball career. And when did you first start playing softball?
I first started playing softball around like 7 or 8.
What made you want to start playing softball?
I was on a soccer team, and
My soccer coach came up to my dad after one of our practices and asked if I wanted to try out for his Little League team, and then ever since then I've been kind of in love with the sport.
When did you realize you had potential to play softball in college?
I had the opportunity to be coached at a young age by like former college athletes, former college softball players. So two being Joey Daniels, who went to Wisconsin, and then Shannon Thomas, who started at Texas and transferred to Cal. And having like those mentors at such a young age and seeing like how passionate and how on fire they were for the sport kind of gave me that passion and, you know, drove my want to play college softball.
What made you pick Trinity University?
During my recruiting process, I really like the campus. It's a beautiful campus. It's kind of a small campus feel in a big city. Having a lot of out-of-state girls really helped too. A lot of our team was from California and is still from California, which is really nice, having that community within our team. Coaches and just having that tight-knit community that our teammates had was really cool, and also like being able to pursue a career in physical therapy, majoring in neuroscience here, just having the strong academics here as well.
How do you think your team will do the rest of the season?
I think we'll do really good. I mean, our bats are on fire. Offense is killing it right now. So just, you know, keeping on with that throughout the rest of the season. I know we've had a couple losses here and there, but I mean, for the most part, we're on fire right now. We're out hitting our opponents each and every game. So I think we're going to make it very far in the SCAC tournament, and then extend our season into regionals as well.
All right. Do you think your defense side is also good?
Yeah, I do think our defense is really well too. I just highlight our offense since we're having like 10 or more hits every single game, just coming out bats on fire. But our defense is also really well. I think we work really well together as a team. Just having those bonds within like our middle infield, our pitcher catcher duos, like our outfield, like everyone has those bonds within the team as well.
Very good. Well, I like the confidence. Very good. And it makes it fun to also be at my other job, filming y'all play. You aren't lying about that. Our time has come to an end. Thank you very much for joining me.
Now, if you were in the San Antonio area last week, you might have seen one of these flying around the city. One of two blimps featuring NBA legends Charles Barkley as well as Magic Johnson for a campaign for Capital One. These two blimps were in town for a very special occasion, the Final Four. This year's men's Final Four featured four incredible teams for yet another year, featuring an SEC rematch between Auburn and Florida, as well as a tightly contested game between Houston and Duke. Florida and Houston were the two teams that ultimately made it to the final, and it was a game for the ages, going down to the final possession to ultimately seal victory for the Florida Gators. This is the third national championship in program history for Florida, and their first since the 2006 to 2007 season. This is also the fifth time that the Alamo City has hosted the Final Four, with the NCAA making it stop here in 1998, 2004, 2008, and 2018 before this year. That is going to be it from me. Remember to tune in next Friday to softball on the Tiger Network, and I will see you all very soon. Take care, everybody.
The stock market plummeted to record lows since 2020 this month as a result of reciprocal tariffs. The three major U.S. stock indexes all dropped by at least 5% as of April 4th, with the SP 500 taking the biggest hit at nearly 6%. Other international stock exchanges saw similar decreases in countries like the UK, France, Germany, and most of Asia. Many analysts have noticed that there is an increased risk of recession because of the stock market backlash, with some putting it as high as a 60% risk. Many major companies, such as Apple and Nike, have been particularly damaged by the monumental tariffs imposed on Chinese goods, as they rely heavily on China in their manufacturing process. With President Trump now pausing many of the tariffs, the stock market has already begun to rebound. but there is still a significant tariff on China, and the stock market is still on a long road to full recovery.
The Israeli military has backtracked claims it made about the killing of 15 Palestinian medics after the release of recent phone footage. The military originally claimed that shots were fired because the vehicles were, quote, advancing suspiciously on nearby troops without headlights or emergency signals. However, following the release of phone footage from one of the slain paramedics last week, an Israeli military official speaking late on Saturday night said that account was mistaken and the incident is being placed under thorough investigation. The footage shows that emergency vehicles approached the scene with logos visible and lights flashing before coming under fire for more than 5 minutes. 8 Red Crescent personnel, 6 civil defense workers, and a UN staffer were killed in the shooting. In a briefing at the UN last week, the head of the Palestinian Red Crescent Society criticized the Israeli military's categorization of the events and called for an independent investigation.
Last week, far-right French leader and potential 2027 presidential candidate Marine Le Pen was fined and sentenced to 4 years in prison. Additionally, Le Pen is now forbidden from holding a public office position for 5 years, removing her altogether from the presidential race. Le Pen is known for her transformation of the National Rally Party, RN, mainstreaming far-right politics among young voters. This ruling comes after Le Pen was found guilty of embezzling European Union funds. According to NBC News, the 9-week trial, which commenced in November following nearly 10 years of investigations, involved Marine Le Pen and 24 other members of her RN party, who are facing allegations of improperly using over 3 million euros in European Parliament funds to compensate party staff from 2004 to 2016. Le Pen announced her intention to appeal the ruling. However, political reactions to the verdict have been mixed. With Le Pen's ban from public office in the legal battle ahead, the party faces a crucial test in maintaining its momentum without its leader. Sadly, that's all the time we have for today.
Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm Angelina Delia.
And I'm Luke McCauley.